In order, date is October 14th, 2024, time of 6:01 p.m. I have the prayer by Mr. Trahan, pledge by Mr. Capel.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Let's please remember the people that got affected by the last two hurricanes, that God watches over them and help them get back to normal life. With that, let's say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Mr. Capel?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Roll call.
Tommy Pollard.
Here.
Michael Landry.
Here.
Marcus Broussard. Lloyd Brown.
Here.
Warren Gotchison.
Here.
Natalie Broussard. Dustin Swear.
Here.
James Trahan.
Here.
Scott Ronsonet.
Here.
Brock Kelleran.
Here.
Brian Napier. Lady Fontaine Brown. Cayman Capel.
Here.
And Chad Moncherin.
Got a quorum, huh? 10 members present, we have a quorum. Before we take off, I just wanted to say one thing as far as how we're gonna go about doing this. In the past, for the new members, and now we have the media here, there will be no formal amendments. We can suggest, discuss, debate, take notes, but your formal amendment process will take place when we actually adopt the budget. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. There's no voting, it's all discussion, just discussions at this point.
Right.
And with that being said, we're gonna start with the fire district first. We have a personal request. If you don't mind, come to the mic, state your name and title for the record, please.
My name is Guy Bonham. I'm the fire chief for Berry Parish Fire District Number 1.
Thank you, sir.
Our budget is pretty simple. I mean, it's full worth everything you're gonna see on it. We don't have a lot of extras this year, to be honest with you. I had to cut 2 employees because of the budget. With our increases last year, with the $128,000 for insurance increase, $44,000 for our building and vehicle insurance, and another $40,000 for retirement, didn't leave us any room to move around. As you can see, I don't have any large items that we're looking to buy in capital outlay. I do have $15,000 in rescue equipment. That's going to be to outfit a truck that was given to us by the town of Louisville, which really appreciate the town of Louisville helping us out. And miscellaneous equipment that we have to buy because we do have our rating year, which was supposed to be this year, but they are so backlogged that they're not going to be coming to us till February or March of next year. So that's for miscellaneous equipment that we need that has broken or for lack of better words, has disappeared from some of the stations. It does happen. I still give $10,250 to the village of Louisville, the town of Jeanerette, and the town of Delcom. That is money that we give them for them assisting us on daily calls back and forth, and that we help them also. That money is strictly used for rating equipment. So before they spend that money, they have to request it through us, and it's got to be for rating purposes and rating purposes only. And that's kind of what we do, and that helps them out, helps us out, kind of in the backside of it. We do have our 2.5% raise, which is state mandated through the state for cost of living, which actually all of y'all know that's not matching up with everything else that's happening in this world. But I'm not going to complain about that. Barring any questions, it's whatever y'all have, you'll have.
Anyone?
Yeah, just make a comment, Chief, I know you want to be quick, but, I am concerned like you down the road about our equipment, our aging equipment at some point. I know we took out a small series bond that you ended up paying off in the end of '23, right?
Yes, sir, and I actually just took out another
Another
one.
one for 1.2 million, right?
That was for 2 fire trucks, bunker gear, and air packs.
And then you're not expected till 30-something to pay that out, right?
Yes, sir.
But at some point, you're looking to go out for a tax to help us with our employees and possibly some equipment, correct?
Yes, sir. I should be back. I think it's in 2 weeks at your meeting with that information to try to do an additional 3.5 mils, which will bring me an additional 1.4 million in to do. And I was going to talk about it then, but I'll be glad to put it out here now.
No, let's do it there to where, you're hearing us in the official meeting.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say that, members, when we talk about fire protection, that is probably my most critical one, because fire rating touches everybody across the parish. And that's why we've been so kind of looking at a microscope with them to make sure that we keep our equipment and our firefighters safe. So, Chief, as always, thank you for working with us, and thank you for all you do for us.
Not a problem. And just so you know, I am unable to buy any new trucks. I'm running some of my volunteer trucks are in excess of 30 years old. So just kind of put that
It's
in the
amazing.
back of your mind. It's,
And that's why I asked. I wanted, it's not like we have the most modern
no,
equipment on the road.
no. All right.
Thanks again, Chief.
Any other
You got it.
questions? Thank you, sir.
All right. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
hold on, Mr. Landry.
I'm sorry.
I didn't,
Question, and you
Yes, sir.
say you're gonna you're coming out with, proposal for a tax.
Yes, sir.
With that tax, would you be able to bring some people back on board? You say you have to lay a couple of people off.
Yes, sir. That's going to secure back those positions plus, and that's part of it. We're looking at taking the Koto Fire Station
Yes.
and using it, remodeling and adding a man station, a housing area to house people there, which will alleviate a lot of travel time and response time in the area of Koto. So, and that's going to cost me, that's an additional 10 people that I have to hire in place of the 4 that I don't have right now. Actually 5 as of today. I'm 5 short today.
That's good. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate
Don't
it.
doubt for 1 second that you're not going to be protected. I don't care how we got to do it. If I got to get back on the truck, and God forbid y'all don't want me back on the truck. But if it happens, we have to do it, and we'll do what we have to do. You will not be without protection whatsoever. I guarantee you that.
Thank you, because I'm like Warren. I worry about our fire protection, our fire ratings, and I stay outside the city also.
Yes, sir.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pellerin.
Yeah, Guy, I just want to say thank you. I live very close to the training center where y'all house everybody. And I just know that y'all do multiple calls a week. I hear every time that fire truck
Yeah.
runs. So it's not just the fire, it's everything else that y'all do. And, it's a tight budget, and I know you need some help.
I had a question you just answered.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, he was here. You good, Mr. Pellerin? All right. Seeing no more, let the record reflect Ms. Brown is here. And now she has the floor.
Chief,
Yes,
just want to
ma'am.
make sure we keep our deal with
Got
our
it.
fire chief.
Got it.
I told him I'm in full support of this. Just don't take our fire chief Sherry, because she's such a great asset.
Yes,
But
she is.
Thank
She's
you
a
for
heck
all
of
you
an
do.
asset.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
yield back.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, man.
Next up, we'll go back to the beginning. We'll go to the public library. Hold on, gosh, I couldn't see it. She was Name and record, please.
Marjorie Hills, Director, Iberia Parish Library.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So, I didn't make any drastic changes to our budget. I did, you'll see a small increase for our personnel services because I have allotted for a second person over at our Lorville branch. just for safety purposes, I think it's best that we have 2 individuals working in our branches. And originally, when that branch was built, it wasn't allotted for a second person, but I would like to see a second person there. Also, just for our part-timers, a small increase, because we've been at 725 since 725 was implemented. Other changes I have here on for our main branch, one of the biggest changes you'll see is that the monies for the roof is not being carried over. We have gone ahead and gone with a new architectural firm, and so they've promised us that the roof will get done this year, so that we don't have to carry that money over. They were actually in our building last week, so we won't be carrying that over into next year. Other changes other increases we have are insurance, just regular things like utilities. Page 3, we've got bank charges an increase. Our electronic resources, we've increased there. Electronic resources are the things that allow us to offer like electronic books and new programming. So like we just implemented a high school and an adult high school program. That's where that comes from. Library programming, we've increased there. That's in order to bring in our lecturers and all our programs like our summer workshops and our new workshops that we had this year, like our adult workshops for adults. We use library programming monies for that. Moving on to our Lydia branch, we don't have any increases there, save for insurance. Most of you'll see not a lot of change in any other branches. Our Generette branch, the same thing. We've got an increase for insurance. Laurelville also insurance. Most of our increases are insurance. And again, like I said, we've added that person to be a second person over at our Laurelville branch. And then as for the capital improvements, I'm still waiting for numbers, but that's linked in with the roof. We'll need mold remediation. We may be able to remove that because the architect is going to have that loop that in whenever he goes to do the roof. But as for the repair of the lights and the ceiling tiles that have been damaged by water, that's all looped in with the roof too, and we're still waiting on some numbers for that. So if you have any questions or comments.
Yeah, I do have a question. As far as the contributions to the pension fund, why are we not expected to put any monies into that? I see that we expected the projection for $77,000 by the end of '24, but then there's been no appropriations in '25.
Yeah,
Do you know why?
that's a number that I had gotten from Kimberly.
That's at the end of page 3.
Yeah, I see that.
Did we meet what we were our expectations were? Because I've seen in other funds we are making contributions, but in library we haven't.
That's a number that we had gotten from Kimberly previously. So I guess I would need to get with Michelle and ask her about that.
And the bank charges, help me understand why do we have?
We are actually right now we're over. We have debit machines in all the branches, and so each time if you go somewhere, when you swipe your card, there's a charge. They'll tell you like there's a 4% charge, or so there's a charge that comes with that.
So we're not accounting for that during the transaction, like most places do?
We are
actually eating at the parish government's eating?
we are. It gets passed on to the patron whenever we have in.
So we actually showing more in the uptick in the revenue to compensate for the expense?
Correct.
Okay. I did have another question. As far as with some of the council members, we had kind of talked about the debate last year, getting close to election, about a healthy 7.2 million fund balance. Remember we talked about that? So if you look at the expectations at the end of '25, half that fund balance is gone within a year and 10 months. So when we say we have $7 million, you really don't have $7 million of capital expenditures, because you have your reoccurring, and then you have whatever happens in the meantime, employee shifts, comp time, things of that nature. It can eat us in a heartbeat. So I guess the next thing I'm getting to is, what is the plan? Because you don't have another year of fund balance at this rate.
Right.
And you don't
So-
even have a hiccup in any one of your building systems, because let's hypothetically say another building has a roof issue that could cost you another 200,000. We're gonna get an audit exception because we don't have an adequate cash flow, and we probably don't have the money to fix it.
So we are hoping to run our election again, coming up, in the spring. I've spoken with Mr. Akers,
Okay.
Jason Akers, and he has told me that we would need to run again in March. I've also spoken with, the voter registration, I believe her name is Kimberly,
Christy.
Christy. I've spoken with her to find out what else would be running, or if we would be the only ones running. When I spoke with her, it was early, and she wasn't able to tell me what else would be running, if anything.
Well, you
So-
just heard from the chief, so evidently the fire department's coming, city fire department, yourself. So we have 3 taxes. And the reason I'm saying this is your board may want to look at mid-year adjustments if something were to
Correct.
happen, because there's no way you could keep up with the operations of that,
Right.
of the facilities if we
Right.
lost in the March election.
Right.
So I guess the next thing would be is, what is the difference between what we did this year going to election versus going next year in elections? What is the connection that you want to make to voters at that point?
Well, we've brought in new programming, and so we've got, like I just said, we've got our adult high school program. So we're trying to bring things that are relevant, that could actually make a difference in people's lives. And so our adult high school program is one of those things. It's people can gain a library, high school diploma through the library at no cost to them. That comes complete with coaches and that sort of thing. That would help them. We're also going ahead and implementing some business platforms for individuals who are looking to start small businesses. We're also implementing a kindergarten readiness program, which is an award-winning program. So we're trying to go ahead and implement things that can actually change people's lives, that people will see that if they know somebody or them themselves need, they can come to the library and get it all for free.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I wanted the people that are watching and people that are here tonight to know that we've kind of changed course
We have.
in that department to better fit the needs of the people of the parish,
We're all-
and to
yeah.
recognize that we don't have $7 million like
Right.
some people think we do.
And I do appreciate that. And if I can say, we're also more involved with the community. So we're making more community partnerships, community connections. We're at events. We were at the gumbo cook-off this weekend. We're in daycare centers. We're in the Head Start centers.
Okay.
So we're making a change.
I would
with
just
the
make
things
one
that we're doing.
suggestion, and I'm going to do that to most of the boards and commissions, is that we look into having some kind of preventative maintenance program on our facilities. Even if you got an architect once a year or a 3-year maintenance plan to go and look and assess our buildings. Because by the time we're able to mitigate, the cost has doubled. I mean, we've been talking about Main Street roof for at least 2 years.
More
So,
than that.
Yeah. So,
But,
great
yeah.
job tonight, and again, thank you for all you do. We appreciate
Thank-
you working with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good.
I yield back.
Mr. Broussard.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Ms. Marjorie. Can you explain the roof on Main Street while explain that again? I missed it.
So, since I got in last July, I had been trying to get the roof done. That came over from the last administration. And so the architect that we were working with at that point just couldn't get it done for us.
I remember being on the roof. I know exactly.
And you know, we hated to end that relationship. It had been a 20-year relationship, but it needs to be done. We've got buckets around the building catching water, and if it's not raining, you can hear water leaking through the tile. And so we got an architectural firm that was highly recommended. I asked around, and they came in, and this was about August. So they came in and they, I wanted them to look at it and make sure that they could take it on, and they came in and told us that they could. And so they were there last week walking around, and he did tell us that he would push us up. He did not realize it was in such bad shape, and he told us that he would go ahead and push us up to the top of the list to get it done this year.
So the money's not needed at the moment? Is that
Not
what
for
it's-
next year.
Not for next year?
We're
okay.
not gonna carry it over
Okay,
again.
I
We're
got you. I
gonna,
missed
we're
that
gonna
part.
use it,
Sorry.
we're gonna use it this year.
Okay, good. I've seen kind of what you were saying. I've seen some of the things you guys are trying to do to stay relevant. We've talked about it, right? I still think, I hadn't seen anything with technology. When I went through it, I was looking, all right, we
Yeah.
talked about it. I've been
We
very
did.
upfront about bringing technology.
Right.
The things that folks normally can't get at their homes, right? I hadn't seen any of that. I know we just lost the millage renewal.
And the
I still
thing,
think
yeah.
that could help you get it
Yeah.
if we found a way to do it.
And that's the thing, coming in as a new person, I was very excited because we had that surplus. Without the surplus, it's a little harder. We'll have to find another way to go around it because we can't just bring the technology in. We have to maintain it. We have to be able to update it and keep
Absolutely.
it current and that sort of thing. So I would say as of now, it's a want, rather than a need.
I
Because
guess I see it
just-
as a need to
yeah.
keep it relevant, for
But-
you to
but
get
again,
what you need
without-
when it comes to the
yeah,
voters.
but again,
Just
without-
my opinion.
Without no, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
But like I said, coming in new and having that surplus behind me, it was a little. We had serious discussions on what could we bring. We started looking at other libraries. What did they have? Again, though, being able to bring it in, you have to be able to maintain it. You can't give something to people and let them get used to having it and then not be able to keep it up.
Yeah. I know the fire chief mentioned cutting a few employees' salaries. I know all those things could happen too if this thing doesn't get passed, right, the next time. So I would challenge you, besides the communicating and the marketing and stuff, staying relevant. I think that would be very important for you guys to get it renewed, or it'd be a new tax at that point. It'd be a new tax, right? Which makes it even harder.
Right.
All the other taxes were renewed 60/40, right? So that's
Give or
pretty
take.
fair. But this one, so you're up for it. It's a big challenge for you guys. So,
And I think some of the.
and I'm gonna continue to voice the things I think we need to do
Yes.
to get it relevant, as you
And I
stated.
think some of the misconception was people, thought that we would be building new libraries. We're not in any way, shape, form, or fashion building new buildings. We're gonna improve and maintain what we have, and I think, that was one of the big things that we heard, that people thought that we were building new buildings and they just didn't see the need for new buildings when we were sitting on vast
bunch.
amounts of money.
Yep.
But as you heard, we're not going to be sitting on vast amounts of money. That's gone.
Yep. Okay. That's it. I had a few notes, but you covered them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lamb.
I must say this. I think if the parish government would have done something 20 years ago, what y'all did with that library before, parish government would have been in much better shape. Y'all kept money. We were able to do buildings, repair buildings. I think if anybody looked at your programming when you came, what y'all did this last year, with a budget that we knew was going, I think y'all did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I think there was a lot of misconception, and as Warren said, that $7 million is almost gone in a year and a half. So I think y'all continue to do what you can, put the information out, and it should pass with no problems. That's in my opinion. But thank you for what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mr. President?
Yes, I'm actually going to do some work to help them educate the people on
And I
these
will
libraries.
too, so.
It's a critical deal for Iberia Parish, for the people in this parish to understand exactly what's going on with the library. So, just so you know. And another thing she's doing right now is she's trying to educate everyone on the different types of activities that we're doing at the library and been doing at the library. But now it's more focused to make the people understand what's taking place. But the library is not about going and run a book. It hasn't been about that for quite some time. It's the activities that take place at this library that a lot of regular people, they need. They can't do those types of things on their own. So I think you're doing a fantastic job, Ms. Hill. Keep up what you're doing.
Thank you.
And we will certainly be working to help you educate the people on what's going on in this parish. And if any of you decide that it's something that you want to do, we can use your help as well. You know, we talked about how much money this library board had been having for years, but no one broke it down to explain to people how fast, you're going to be out of operation. So this is something that we need to do, make sure that people understand what's going on. Thank you, that's it.
Anybody else? Oh, you got back on?
Mr. Larry brought up books, and I got
Go
it.
ahead.
Yep. Mr. Larry brought up books, and it reminded me of another question I had. I see in here $100,000 for books. What is that? What is that, to replace books, for new books?
That is for
electric books? What is that for?
That is for all of the above. So that is new books. If you follow us on social media, we do a thing now where we buy it so you don't have to, and we start to put the books out. We're trying our best. If it
so
comes
the
out,
constituents can go and request a book. If they don't have it, that's a place for them
but
to go
not
buy
only
the
that,
book.
if it comes out today, we have it at the library today, where you can either check it out or put yourself on hold for it. We buy multiple copies, so you're not sitting there waiting 4 months for one book. It's for replacing books that are lost or damaged. So stuff that goes out and doesn't come back into us. So for all of that.
All right, thank you.
Looks like we're clear. Anybody else? Last chance? Yeah, just everybody keep in mind, we talk about the tax or whatever. Perception becomes reality. So unless we get out there and tell them.
That's right.
The Facebook mafia takes over, and there's your perception and there's your reality. So
Correct. And we saw a lot of that back in April.
thank you, Ms. Margie.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll move on to rabies control. Unless you wanted to answer the contract, not one second, if you don't mind, Michelle. We'll go right back to the library fund real quick. If you could explain that 77,000 discrepancy. I say discrepancy, I shouldn't use that word.
Yes. Oh, for the contribution to pension?
Yes.
Yeah. You can fix it for me.
I mean, it's based on from the ad valorem taxes. That's with the pension fund. So if we're not going to collect any taxes with 2025, we won't have any collections, pension funds. But more than likely, we probably will. We're just not too sure of how much will be collected. So we would just have to come back with an adjustment.
That's where I was going at, because what happens now if we don't collect, or let's hypothetically say the tax fails, so we still have an obligation for the employee pension fund, right?
This
So
is
we'd have
contribution. This is associated with the ad valorem taxes,
Correct.
like the sheriff's, the assessor, and
Okay, but we still obligated, correct?
if it comes with the tax, so I would have to find that out. I would have to check with that.
So, but as far as December 31st of this year, she collects $0 after December 31st as far as the ad valorem,
As far
right?
as we know of, it may be some, like some people pay back taxes, so you might have some collections from other years.
Okay.
But we're just not sure of how much.
So that's why we didn't review it. Makes sense.
Correct.
Thanks.
Correct.
Thank you. All right, now we'll move on. Rabies. Name and title, please.
Amanda East, manager.
You can go ahead.
I don't know where to start. This is my first time doing this, so.
I mean, for you, you're not gonna have a lot, really.
I mean, we made a few small increases, and I think one of the main ones was to supplies. We increased that by 580, but we did decrease the uniform fund by 250. So for us at Rabies Control, we only wear our polos and stuff like that when we go out on calls. So I don't know if you guys have been to the shelter. It's hot. It's dirty, it's messy. We run through those shirts, so we wear these types of t-shirts. So that's where we're using the supplies for. And then we just have regular minor increases. I think there was a 2.5% increase in the Medicare. I think one of them was parochial, and then, yeah, I think those were the only two.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to take this opportunity to remind folks that this money comes out of our health unit. And out of that health unit, which is maxed out, that we have to pay for the inmates, jails, and health care. And it's a mandate by the state. And we continue to have to do that. And as long as that goes higher and higher and our millages don't go up, then these folks here doesn't have a whole lot of money to work with. So I just want to remind folks, I want to take that opportunity to educate if you hadn't heard. And anybody has a comment on it, fine, but just wanted folks to know it's very limited and it's unfortunate. But anyway, I am getting like Paul, I got glasses on, I got my eyes on.
And if I can, I would like to piggyback on a little bit about what he's saying in reference to the special session that's going to take place next month. That's going to be talking about inventory taxes and what's going to happen and where parishes can opt in and opt out. It's going to be a huge deal for our Berea Parish. I have some information that I'm going to give you guys. It's a big deal. It's a very, very big deal that we're going to have to pay attention to, because if we make certain moves, we're going to have to go up on our millages, big time, on our property taxes. So this is something that hopefully you guys are paying attention to. It's very important to our Berea Parish. That's it. I just want to piggyback on what you're saying.
Thank you, sir.
That animal intake. Do you know the numbers for this year?
We are at, I think we took in 3 this week, so that puts us over 560.
I'm not gonna say that's good, but it's, if I remember last year, you were at like 1,200 or something like that. It was,
I think they were, yes.
yeah.
But they were, I will be very honest with you, last year and since 2020, there was a boom in the industry. People were adopting animals left and right. They were, they were at home, they're stuck at home, they couldn't go anywhere for 2 years. After that, people started going back to work. They started putting the animals back in the shelter. Oh, we're not home enough, we're not doing this. So those numbers have decreased. I will say though, in the past month, we have gotten out more animals in the past month than we have in the past 5 months since I started. So I always say the only way to save the animals is by programs and policies. It's the only way we're gonna do it. And why we already have a very negative view with the public. So making these small effective changes, we can get more animals out, which means we can take more animals in. It just takes time to get those to kind of turn around and get the public to see that we're here to do good. So.
Yeah. Mr. Landry?
Your animal control officers, do
Yes.
they ride around or you got to call?
So we always have people call us, because riding around, it's taking up gas, it's taking up time. We do have to take animals to the vets, things like that. We usually have people call us, and when they call us in the mornings, then they're going out in the afternoons. We have, unfortunately, few staff. I am short 2 people right now, so that does take all of my staff to clean all of those cages.
'Cause I'm gonna tell you, we got some wild ones around our neighborhood, and yeah, they hunting dogs. They flea dogs. One man building a house, but people been calling. I've called, and I mean, you come out there in the afternoon, them dogs go in there. Them dogs are smart. They don't stick around when they feel that they're gonna be hunted. So we got to do something with that. I've heard people all around the parish saying, when they get out there, them dogs is gone. So
A lot of times with these dogs, depending, like you say, they're wild dogs, we're not going to go out there and just catch them.
They just dogs that people just let go.
And then become fearful of
straight
humans when that time. It only takes a few
They
weeks.
come there every day.
And
almost
it takes
every
time
day.
to catch those dogs. Like if they are truly a feral pack, it can take me weeks to track a feral pack because they move so much. We have to set traps, and I'm finding a lot of the public does not want to sign for these traps or put them on
two
their
or three dogs. I don't think they're packed.
That I would consider that a pack,
Yeah.
actually.
So-
More than one dog is considered a pack,
Okay.
truthfully. In the definition, it is when it comes
Yeah,
down.
we a pack.
You guys are a
Yeah.
pack. You guys are a pack right now.
But no, that's, I do know that, and, you know, I'm saying you can call, because I've made calls, but if you don't come till a certain time, I just don't know where they go. Some of them spend the night under houses and. they
That
be
comes down
all
to a
around.
staffing issue for me.
Okay,
It truly does.
okay.
Because I would love to go out and catch these dogs right when they call. I would. That is something that I've wanted to do, but
And that's where we need to start looking at this. And one more question.
Yes, sir.
Is the city right now paying their fair share?
yes, they are. I have been keeping up with that since I started in late May. So,
Okay.
or early May, excuse me.
That's good, I'm good.
Mr. Broussard?
Yeah, Miss Amanda, right?
Yes, sir.
I think it's the first time I think I've seen you, and I appreciate you coming. You're probably one of the most difficult emotionally directors of positions in the parish, right? So with the animals and the folks that the calls you get, I know it's challenging for you. So thank you for thank you for sitting through the few months you've been doing it. I hope we get to keep you as long as possible, but you seem like you really cared. And again, I think you're in one of the tougher spots as in your position. Again, with the emotional part with these animals. So anyway, good job. Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
good.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Peller?
Well, I'm gonna thank her too. Me and you had a little interaction, email, with the dog in my house, so.
Oh, yes. I'm glad I was able to help you with that.
I'm just looking forward from getting the email for you this week, but, very good. Thanks for the job you're doing. I mean, it was very, very responsive when I emailed you, so hopefully we get that issue taken care of.
I'm hoping to get you in by Friday. That's my
Thank
goal.
you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, guys.
We'll move to mosquito control. Name and title, please, sir.
Good evening. My name's Herf Jones. I'm with Iberia Parish Mosquito Control.
Thank you, sir.
And for our new council members, just a little brief introduction. This is our 18th season. I'm pretty excited about that and amazed at how the time flies. That have been here, those summers have passed by pretty quickly. We have some fantastic folks working for us. Most of you guys don't get to interact with them too much because they're either working very early in the morning before the sunrise or in the evening time when the sun goes down. Please, if you have an opportunity to interact with any of them, please tell them thank you because that is really hard work. And if you're not an outdoorsman or a hunter, you know, some places these guys go to surveil these mosquitoes is pretty treacherous. Now, as you look at the overall budget, again, information for the new council persons is that this is the one budget in parish government which holds two fund balances. One fund balance is the surplus being distributed from the previous year, or if you will, and the other fund balance is what we propose or what we are conservatively proposing to be the fund balance for the current year that we're planning for. And over that time, it's been a successful relationship, not only with the ordinance established by this body, but mosquito control in providing a significant amount of surplus over those 18 years. We're well over the $30 million mark, and that is very, very helpful to all of our unincorporated municipalities outside of the parish-wide drainage, City of New Iberia, Jeanerette, Laurelville, and Delcombe. And we will continue to manage our model for our program to maintain that surplus stream because it is important to us. Now, this is some of the things that you don't see. These are our folks working at night, doing special requests, and most of all all of our operations are led by surveillance. Everybody's going to say, oh, the mosquitoes are killing me. They're terrible everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I could be everywhere all at once. But obviously we can't. But we do know, if you look at your bottom right there, we know that there's a lot of mosquitoes out there every day. And we are on those spots, about 30 different spots, to get an idea of where we should be and prioritize where our efforts need to go for that night. We're doing routine operations Monday through Friday. You will see us on Saturday and Sunday, but that's associated with public events like the Sugarcane Fest and events such as that. You can't see those guys because they're about to fall into a pool, which looks like, somewhere up against Marsh Island estuary that is unattended for a significant amount of time to be that green. So any of the council members, if you have constituents that are having these issues, we prefer to have the permission of the property owner. And Mr. Gotchasan has helped me with several of those situations to where he's gone out, used his effort to get the property owner to say, hey, can you let these mosquito guys in? And we go there, we have the materials, we have the technique to take care of that. No, we're not hopping over fences. No, we're not throwing something from Miss Mary's fence, because that's just not the right way to handle our business as parish government. So if you're in that, please encourage your constituents to give the office a call. I know they're calling you a lot and telling you to, call mosquito control. That's only one less call they could have made if they would have called Miss Adrian, because she's going to make sure she has the exact address, the exact location, and tell us exactly what to do. If you leave the message with me, I'm 60, so I'm starting to forget little things here and there. I do want you to know that just overall, our program is kind of evenly based, but we still are heavily dependent on aerial mosquito control. That's a component that we could not live without. When I first came in 06, it was just not too long after Rita and what have you, and when we looked at it, and you looked at where the mosquitoes are coming from, there's no roads out there, there's no infrastructure out there, so we have to be able to address them by air. And oftentimes, since we can't be everywhere at once, those mosquitoes do make it into the populated area, so the aircraft allows us to do our work over a large amount of area and have a high degree of effectiveness. Now, for some of the new council persons, this is how we got to this point. We have a very workable, very manageable cooperative endeavor agreement with Vermilion Parish Mosquito Control, where we purchased the aircraft, outfitted an aircraft, and we share it. I guess it's on your left, looks like that on your left, the red was our budget that we had when we were contracting mosquito control. Now that we're doing in-house mosquito control, and I'll share a few more details with you in the next slide, our budget line item is $150,000, which is about $100,000 savings. On your right, the red shows, to the best of our knowledge, where we expect it to be with contract services, because prices were increasing significantly, and acreage was still about, trying to figure out how many acres we're going to do from year to year, whether it's going to be dry, whether it's going to be wet, whether it's going to be hurricane or not. So this is the dollar figure that we would have been at, which would have far exceeded our $250K. And if you could see from our 2023, our previous year actuals, and this is our shared cost, that we're looking at almost a 74% interest there. And savings there. And that savings, if it's not used within the program, that goes back to that adjustment that you get, that you vote on, into the surplus dollars. So here's the detail, and we're going to ask that level. We're proposing level funding for 2025 again, because we're doing our very best to try to predict what mosquito season is going to be in front of us. We do have some anticipated cost related to repairs, and there's always, with anything mechanical, some unanticipated expenditures related to that. And we hope to keep our objective is to keep that within the program dollars, so we're not coming to the council or the municipalities to ask for a fund balance adjustment at some point in the year to provide for repairs that we cannot handle within the program itself. And we're lucky that within our pilot services, not only do we have high-level pilots that are licensed to operate complicated aircraft. One of those pilots is an AP mechanic, and so we have somebody eyes on that is licensed to not only maintain the aircraft but do the maintenance as well. The bottom line is chemicals, and if you recall last year, we did make an adjustment there to anticipate increased costs related to chemicals. You can see what our actuals were in 2023. So we're pretty close with that material. And right now there's only one material that is licensed and EPA registered for use from the air according to their particular rules related to endangered species and various other federal regulations we won't talk about here. Again, you'll see this in your book. This is just to highlight where you'll see those expenses. And this is where we are going in the future. We have our bid packet finally put together. I was just sharing with some folks in the audience. They asked, when is it going to come? Well, the bid package is about 65 pages long. And there's been, I'm sure as you all know, some communications in the news related to FAA regulations and what type of drones and where those drones are being made and where they're coming from. So it makes it, very difficult to put together a bid package. The FAA would prefer that they are not from a certain region of the globe for obvious reasons, and we intend to adhere to all the regulations that are put in front of us. I'll see if this will play for you. This is a demonstration that I was able to go to, and let's see, Carrie. If not, I'm just going to skip it. Yeah, we're going to skip it.
Actually, I have to go on it to be able to click it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Put my cursor on it?
Yeah, somewhere by there, because it doesn't have the arrow. So
Oh, never mind. Okay.
You saw that arrow down the bottom?
Yeah, I did, but I can't move that from here. So that ends my presentation. Please, I invite all of the council members to please come to our board meeting on the second Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. Mr. Pellerin has been out, Mr. Gotchasan has been out, or if you have the opportunity, we're not out of town, just come on out to the airport and visit us and come check it out and see what you got there. We have a fantastic facility, and I appreciate Mr. Gotchasan's comment about forecasting maintenance on your facility. So we've been there for quite some time. We've had some projects related to that, and probably will have some other projects down the road. I'm ready to answer any specific questions you might have related to
I just want to make 2 comments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for acknowledging me. Mr. Jones, thank you for always being here. And like you said, I don't know how many times I call the office a week when we get those calls, but you're always out there. Miss Adrian takes good care of us. I appreciate that. Members, he did talk about if he had to come through a mid-year adjustment just in case things were up. He does hold a $500,000 contingency that he does give that goes to our drainage fund. And Larry, I'll tell you, there was years where We ran very short on operational funds. When we got those monies in, we were able to continue the program of drainage. So it's that program, not just for mosquito control, but being able to help us with our drainage and stay ahead has been very critical for
And the
us.
different municipalities
Cities,
as
the
well.
municipalities, yeah, and you can see those disbursements in there. So,
And-
Mr. Jones, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate
Very
you.
welcome. And Mr. Gotcha saying also to point out, there's very specific ordinance, very specific resolution from our board of what those dollars can be used for.
That's correct.
Out in no other reason other than that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm good, thank you.
Seeing no one else, I just wanted to talk about the drone. No, I've been watching this disaster in North Carolina, right? And I don't know if y'all saw, they're using drones to get supplies because it's a logistics issue. They can't cross a bridge. They can't, a river's in the way, rocks are in the way, whatever. And they're using the drones to get to people. And in this case, it's the same thing. You might have something, that's a location across. Look all the waterways we have around here. So that's a good investment. It's gonna save money. You might, instead of flying a plane, you can go fly a little drone for a little while.
Exactly, and the idea is to get to places that we can't get to, and more important, get to places we can't see.
Yeah.
One part of the package is another drone which does strictly surveillance and mapping. Has all kind of camera that you can put on it, and then you're right, the delivery drone can handle some can handle up to 200 pounds. This one we're looking at is 50, 60. So.
Let me ask you, you said another drone, would you need another drone to bounce the signal off of, possibly?
Actually, it is autonomous, meaning when we put up the delivery drone, the treatment drone, it follows the program that we've downloaded from the surveillance drone.
So it already knows.
Yeah, it'll go where it's supposed to go. When it runs out of material, it'll come back to you. You fill it up, press the return, and it goes back where it was to finish.
All right, it's fancier than I thought. All right. Mr. Broussard.
Yeah, what's the cost on that drone? Just curious.
The
I know
package.
You mentioned it last year. I'm
Yeah,
glad to see you're still kind of.
Package was 65, and then there's going to be a recurrent cost associated with that, for the software that supports it. But that's in the thousands of dollars.
Pound? That's the carrying capacity.
Right.
50,
Yeah.
What's the 200 pound cost?
The 200 pound, the FAA hasn't checked those off of
Okay.
their
Gotcha.
list yet.
Fair enough. Okay, so about 50, 60K?
That one would be way more than
I'm sorry,
that.
the 50 pound. The one
Oh, the
that
50
is more
pound, right.
likely to happen
65.
for your use. Okay.
Yeah. All right. And that comes with some training and certification, and the surveillance drone is in that package. Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I
All
got
right, we'll move over to Communications District. I thought somebody was retired, but he's here. Name and title, please.
I still had to come tonight. For those of you I haven't met, I'm Press Marshall. I am the Communications District Director. And again, to review, for those of you who haven't spoken to me about it, our fund balance, or our income, is based on most of it's based on state statute cell phone fees. That's the lion's share of our income, because obviously cell phones is what most people are using. Then there's an ordinance that you all passed that covers landlines, which includes both business VoIP, regular business landline, home VoIP, and regular home landline. And home landline, it's almost negligible with the way the market's going. We actually do get income from the prepaid phones sold at places like Walmart that's collected by the state, and we get some there. It's been going down. I cannot figure out why. But in general, we're in sound shape financially. Before I go on to the budget, just to review, again, for the folks that aren't familiar with this, if you call 911, day or night, you're going to get us. You're going to get whoever answers the phone, even the newest employee, will have gotten at least 2 months of training. And if you're on fire, if your house is on fire, we are the fire dispatchers for all the fire departments in the parish. If you look at the budget, you'll see the fire district, the parish fire district pays us, City New Iberia Fire Department pays us, And then the 3 smaller municipalities, we dispatch for them as well. From my perspective, we treat them as a component of the fire district. Their dispatching systems work the same as if we're dispatching the fire district themselves. So we do all the fire dispatching, and as 911 call takers, if you need law enforcement, we will transfer your call to law enforcement. If you need a medic, we're going to transfer you to Acadian. If you need a dog catcher, we're going to transfer you to rabies control. I'm very proud of our systems. If we need to find you, which is a common problem with cell phones, we've got Lance. We have both systems up and running, right? So if a caller calls, you'll see 2 different icons on the screen. Lance would have to explain the technology to you. One is the location information that comes from your phone. One is one that comes from companies like Apple, and that's the best explanation I can give. But it's we've had cases like a domestic violence case where the caller can't speak, but we're able to narrow down just which home it is and send the sheriff's office to that house, even if no one is talking to us, or if the dispatchers can hear something that's going on. Staffing, we're short as well. We should have 12 folks divided among 4 shifts, day shifts and night shifts. We're at 8. I'm very proud of them. They're doing a good job. As you look at the budget, obviously that reflects full staffing. And even with that, we're in the black on switching to the budget. The 2 exceptions from the previous year's budget are going to be, I've put in money for a vehicle. The one 911 vehicle we have is a 2006 Yukon, so it's 18 years old. It's still running, but for instance, we used to use it for conferences. We're afraid to take it out of town now. So I did budget for a new 911 vehicle. Also, what's going to happen this year, we're in 2025, we're budgeting for a full-time 911 director. I am actually dual-hatted as both the emergency preparedness director and the communications district director. Our board selected Mr. Lance. You can hold your hand up, Lance, Mr. Lance Provost. Most of you have seen him helping me. He's my right arm. The board selected him to be my successor next year as the 911 director, which is great news for the community. He built the communications district in its current form, to the lion's share of that work was done by him, and he's got the expertise, and he's the one that's doing those 2-month training academies on every single one we hire. And even when we're short, I'm saying, Lance, man, we're really short. Can we cut the training a little short? He won't do it. He will not sign off anyone. He does not want out there taking your phone calls at 2 in the morning when there's some kind of crisis going on. So we're really fortunate to have him. Just wanted to thank our call takers now. It'll be my last chance to do it. Ginny Esterly, Kinsey Simon, Vincent Jones, those are our 3 shift dispatchers. Our 3 shift supervisors. We should have 4. Cassandra Dore, Tashelli Bowie, Chastity Landry, Alyssa Bears, and Alex Dancause. We're fortunate to have them. We've had folks, when they hear about an event, they'll leave home and they'll come into work. Most of you heard the story. We had one call taker, shift supervisor, who had her kids on the phone during the tornado. I've told most of you this story. I walk in, and she was by herself because the other person had happened. They went to the bathroom right at that moment. She was taking all the 911 calls, and she lives near me, near where the tornado was going, and she knew it. Her kids were at home that day because school had been canceled. She was there taking all the calls, knowing her kids were at home alone, and she had them on an open line. So we're blessed to have really, really great people. Only 8 of them covering 12 shifts. So as soon as somebody has to take a day off, if they're sick or something, someone else has to take that shift. And Lance is the one that makes that magic happen. And they're the ones that come in on the night they thought they weren't working or the day they thought they weren't working. So we've got some great people. No budget problems to present. Even with purchasing the vehicle, we'll be in the black by $91,000. One pending possible bill we have is for something called Next Gen 911. A facet of this is texting to 911. This is an extremely technical discussion. I'll be happy to entertain it later on. We probably don't have the time tonight to do it. But there are some potentially significant costs involved in switching from a phone-based system where we have phone lines coming in the 911 center to an IP or internet-based system. And the last discussion I had with the vendor was with AT&T, and I think her estimate was that might cost us about $70,000 a year. We pay about $20,000 now for routing on the copper phone lines. So that's another $50,000 a year bill we may potentially have to pick up pretty soon. I've got that room obviously in the budget. Subject to that, I'd be happy to take any questions you have about the budget or about 911.
Oh, there you go. Mr. Power.
Okay, so you're looking to take on both of them, the AT&T plus the new, just the regular phone lines like y'all taking and also?
We would switch. So
Y'all would
the,
switch,
the,
okay.
the 911 calls come in on what are called trunk lines. They're dedicated phone lines provided by AT&T. And the concept is that rather than having regular phone lines coming into your facility, they're coming in over the internet. And what that does is allows them to carry additional information. For instance, if somebody wants to send us a picture, like you see a bank robber, oh, I took a picture of the bank robber. Well, in theory, it might be helpful if you could send that in. It's much more complicated than that because if we got to have the systems and every law enforcement agency has to have them or you haven't accomplished anything. So I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze on some of this technology from a public safety perspective. I think we may be better off with humans talking to humans. I think you get the response moving a lot more quickly that way. But to answer your question, what we would do is we would disconnect the phone lines that are currently coming in, and we already have data coming in. We would have internet access going to AT&T, and the phones would come in as voice over internet protocol message traffic.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none?
If
Oh,
I
Mr.
can,
President?
this is Prescott's last time presenting the communications budget. And I want to tell you, Press, it's been a privilege working with you. And the work that you have done in the communications district or for the communications district as well as Homeland Security, you will certainly be missed. The person that we hired, you feel he's going to do a fantastic job.
We're in good hands.
I feel he's going to do a fantastic job as well. But I want to personally tell you it's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you, sir.
And Lance is going to come in and you're just not going to stop doing what you've been doing. It's just you're going to have a different title now. So Iberia Parish, we're looking very good with our 911 director now and the acting director that's going to become the permanent director of Homeland Security in January. So I think we're looking good for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I could, just extend an invitation to all of you, please come visit us anytime. You don't need to call me first, just drop on in. I'm proud of all the people we have working there. We're out at the airport, kind of catty corner to the airport fire station and the control tower. I'd be proud to have any one of our employees show you what they're doing and what our systems are capable of. We never close, so come by anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Next, we have Acadiana Fairgrounds. Name and title, please.
Courtney Boudreau, the manager of the Sugarina Acadiana Fairgrounds. We just had a few changes. It's the 25th year of the Sugarina being open, so we are planning a 25-year event to just put on a little bit of everything, include everybody in the parish, just a bunch of different events put together. That'll most likely be May 9th through 11th of next year. And so the expenses we're estimating about $15,000, and we estimate about $30,000 on the income side of that. And the other two changes, the insurance, we had about a $23,000 increase on insurance. For salary, we are asking to increase the maintenance personnel and the part-time positions.
Anyone? I'll see Mr. Gustafson has.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess the concern for me is like it was last year, we're still adopting a budget that has a deficit.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Pat, what are we, I know you're here, I mean, the concession stand seems a bit low for me. I mean, we're only taking in $6,000 a year with all of the events that we have there?
So, what, 4 years ago, we stopped running the concession ourselves and we lease it out now. It's $500 a month and they come in, they buy all the food and pay their employees. And so,
Were we making more doing it when we were generating ourselves or the way we're doing it now? Because the problem we having is the revenue is, I mean, if you took away the transfers from public buildings, that 60,000, you're further in the hole. If you took away the money from the state budget that's given you graciously over the last 2 years, the building's probably worse off than it is now. I'm trying to figure out what is the plan from the board. And I know Mr. Pat works very hard. Mr. Pat, I mean, this is 2 years in a row that just looking at it on paper, Mr. Pat, it's bad.
We're trying to figure out some way to have an operating budget. Without an operating budget.
Well, and that goes back to revenue. That goes back to, I mean, the concession stand, like I asked, even if you made $10,000, that's $5,000 additional that you took in, rather than just renting and somebody else making. Because evidently, if he's still paying you for how many years he's been doing this or she's been doing this?
this is a new person. They came in, a year and a half, maybe.
Okay. That's just the thing for me is when we look at accepting a budget that's in the deficit, not just in what we took in that year balance, but as in overall year balance from carryover to last year to this year, we $200,000 in a deficit. At some point, we have to start addressing it somehow. And listen, I'm not putting it on the board or you yourself, ma'am. We have to come up with a better game plan, guys. And Mr. Pat, I know you're out there 24/7 and trying to do the best of what you have, which is very little. But I think at some point we need to have a conversation between administration and the operations there to say, hey, I mean, this is what we've done the last 5 years. What can we do differently to help the income? I mean, I remember the days where we had the hot sauce festival. We had things like that drew in just.
We had all the volunteers. We had this. We had
Yep.
that. And right before COVID,
It hurt us. And then since COVID, the buildings aged to where we busted water lines. Well, we have some issues with the sprinkler systems. I mean, so it's
we spent $86,000 for a complete fire protection system, and we got cleared. They came in and looked at it. I mean, this thing is.
Was that part of the state treasury dollars through the capital outlay?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 86,000. So what did we do with the additional funds from the 125? So 86,000
We
of
haven't done
that.
anything with the 125. It hadn't been touched.
The
Okay?
125 is gonna be for permanent fencing around the facility. We have like the national rodeos and stuff like that wanna come, that'll pay more
Okay.
rental, but it's a liability issue if the cows get out onto that main highway.
Sure, I agree. I just, things are getting tighter for the state, as you can tell, coming into this year. Is this the best use of those dollars currently right now for the facility? And I'm just asking because if something goes wrong, state is not picking you up, then you coming back here, and then at this point, our public building funds is I mean, you're gonna see coming in the next couple of meetings, it's about busted where it's at. So I'm just asking to have that conversation with you now to say, look, if things get worse, we're not in the best shape to help at this point. And look, Mr. Pat, I mean, I remember the years where you came and we had a little extra that we could give at that point, but it seems to me we can't catch the corner every time. Our buildings are aging and the money's not coming in as much as it's going out to fix these aged buildings.
I think, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. That's why I'm saying, Mr. Chair, I mean, we have to look at.
I think Warren is on point. When you take a look at the amount of buildings that we have in Iberia Parish and the amount of money we get a year in public buildings, we get some $2-point-something million a year in public buildings. If you look at the work we're getting ready to do just at the jail right now, that's $1.8 million. Just the jail, just doing the roof on the jail right now. The chiller we just did, $700,000. That's your whole budget gone. So we have a lot of people talk about, we should be doing this. I could make you do this. Like, make me do what you want to do if you got some money. But you have to prioritize what it is that you have. We're statutorily obligated by the state government to do certain things. One thing is to take care of that jail, and the other buildings, that's where this particular building. And when you started doing all of that, you really don't have any money. I heard everything you want to hear. about the Sugarcane Festival building, but what am I doing? Am I gonna fix that building for millions and then go against the state statute? You know, so people have to understand the operation that we currently have to live by. And it's gonna get us before it's over. It's gonna get us before it's over, it's just a matter of time.
So of that 100,000, will that take all of the money to fence that area in? Is that what y'all?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
When it's there.
Okay.
And how much do we have in
125, I
no,
said?
before that, I mean, what were those we have left over from the 300,000?
I think it's like 60.
No, no.
60,000 still left from the 300,000.
We,
From last year's one?
Last year.
yeah,
185.
we have to,
So I know you did you did the speaker, the P8 box.
that was the grant before that.
Yeah.
That was the 300,000, right?
400,000.
The 400,000, okay.
$300,000 has been used on different things, like for instance, the fire protection, it had to be replaced, or else they were gonna shut us down.
And we have to get
Huh?
a skid
No,
steer.
that's the
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
it was all the lighting and the PA and all that, saying that, hey, if there's a fire, somebody pulls an alarm, all that was just, it was so old that it was just, you pull the fire alarm and nothing happened. Okay, and we got red tag. And so we had to do something quickly, okay? And that's what they just finished coming in, and the fire marshal came in and they approved us, everything's good to go and so forth. But it just, we had to be on fire call. Luckily, we didn't have to pay somebody to be on fire call. We were able to do it ourselves. We're having to fix a leak in the, well, I say a leak, condensation and so forth, in between the roof and the ceiling. And we got a company coming in, that's supposed to be coming in and spraying all that down to prevent that from happening, because what's happening is the condensation is getting into the lights, shorting out the lights and so forth. It just seems like one thing, we can't get ahead of ourselves. It's like that commercial, you step one forward and 2 steps backwards,
Well, Mr. Pat, thank you. I appreciate, Courtney, appreciate everything you do. I just want to say, when we first got here, the main source of revenue was the state sharing, which is a hotel motel tax. And what happens with that is the senator basically controls that, or the legislature basically controls the disbursements of that. Well, we've went from, I think at the time, 2 or 3 state parish entities to now well over 10 or 12 now, right?
Many.
And so the more that we spread it out, the less revenue that they continue to get, and that's what's happened over the year.
We used to get a lot.
130,000, I remember when I first,
$40,000 every year. And that's the state, we were able to do this, but now it's like, I don't care what we try. I mean, I'm getting ready to go back to the Capitol and see what I
Oh,
can
you've
do.
been successful. I got to give you that. I mean, you've brought some money home. It's just the thing is at the end of the day is when that started getting cut, then the parish took over the maintenance of the building, which we hired somebody through public buildings, and we've been paying that fund probably since 2017. I'd have to say. So, yeah, let's continue having some more brainstorming on this until we get to final adoption. Again, Mr. Pat, thanks for all you do. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Drumhouse, hold on. Good.
Hey, Courtney, I had a question. Did y'all recently get a new maintenance personnel?
We did get a new maintenance personnel, and he was working out really good, but he's been having some health issues and whatnot, so he quit as of 10 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, I tried talking to him for an hour or so. We tried to get him to, where we could, whatever, but it just fell through.
Okay.
All right.
So now it's just me and 2 part-time ladies.
Mr. Capel.
So with the fencing, do y'all know how much the professional rodeo will bring more in revenue?
So right now, the local rodeos don't even want to pay $500. The professional rodeos are saying that they pay around $1,200.
Okay. That's it.
So that's $125,000. You're gonna get $1,200. You got a lot of rodeos you need to be doing to recoup that money.
All right, any further questions? Seeing none, thank y'all, both of y'all.
All right.
All right,
y'all so very
EDD.
much.
I guess Miss Michelle's gonna handle EDD.
All right.
All right. Michelle Swear, Iberia Parish Budget Officer. So the EDD fund, the revenues are from the sales tax. We're going to get about $4 million. We projected about $4,060,000 for 2024 and about $4 million in the sales tax for 2025. We have some investment income that we receive as well. So going forward, we carrying over the balance for the DOTD Lewis Street widening. So that's basically the match. The next project is the FPNC LaSalle Hangar extension. We carrying that forward to 2025. The Admiral Doyle Lewis Street, we're carrying that over to 2025. The next page for the Admiral Doyle Road Lightning, that's the airport lights, the 13,000 that's budgeted every year. For the Lobby Road Bridge, we're projecting that to finish for this year. If not, we'll carry forward any leftovers. Let's see. And then in our expenses for as the economic development is the audit, where we pay the audit, the indirect costs, the bond payments, and the CEA agreement with AIDA. We're budgeting that as well. And then the EDD bonds is the fiscal agent, and then the AIDA as well. That you'll pay the $100,937. For as the airport is the PERP is the ARA access road. We're carrying forward that balance to 2025. And pretty much of the box hangers, the tri-box hangers for the airport, that should be finished this year. And pretty much that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Michelle, the reason the difference in the bond principal and interest is because one of those debt service agreements has expired, right? That first road bond, that 2012 road series is gone now, right?
Correct.
So let me ask you, now that we have a little influx of money, are we not thinking about maybe putting a little more on top to try to get that other bond out the way?
We hadn't had a discussion, but we could check on
Yeah,
it.
let's talk about that. And the reason I say that is, and look, I always said about you and Ms. Kim is that y'all have always been conservative on the revenues.
Yes.
Y'all projected $4 million. If I look back at the last collections, was almost $1 million in the last 2 months. So I think we're gonna bring in a little more than that. Yeah. But if we can, at least get the debt service going, just in case something would, the tires would fall off the car. Right. We'd at least have our debt service, because I don't know if you remember, but we struggled in this fund for a little while, for 2 or 3 years, where we were real close on our cash flow.
Right. What we were trying to do is trying to get Michelle, since Kim is not here, trying to get Michelle to get through this budget.
Who's doing a great job?
She's doing a fantastic job. Now, we will be coming back to the council in the beginning of the year to make some amendments. So, things like that, Warren. We can make. I think we need to try to get through this if we can.
Yeah.
And then we can come back to the council later.
Now, Mr. President, I did have a conversation, and I know the vice chair did with you about possibly a construction of a road program in here.
Absolutely.
At the Port of Iberia, and possibly something else at the airport.
You did. You talked to me about that 10 months ago, a long time ago, and also the chairman.
Okay.
And we are looking to do that if I can. Today I had a meeting with Richard Menville, and we're talking about the capital outlay funds that we requesting. And in capital outlay, we have some $2 million that we're trying to get for roads at the Port of Iberia. So hopefully we're gonna see how that's gonna work. But we certainly want to get some roads done at the Port of Iberia, and I appreciate you for that.
And I guess I have one more, and again, and I'll be working closely with the administration on these amendments on some of these. But as far as we talked about IDF, maybe.
Yes.
Did you?
If we can, once we finish this TIF district, because you're going to find at your next council meeting, we're going to be talking about expanding the TIF district, which is going to include Innovation Boulevard, the areas all around that particular area. The TIF district is also going to include where the new warehouse is being built for First Solar, several different areas in the parish, around 88, where the service station is going toward Lobby Road. So we have several areas that we're gonna wanna include into the TIP district. As you know, right now, we're working with IDA, IDF, UL, and other businesses that's trying to come to Progress Point. We need to get a road built at Progress Point. So it's gonna cost a few dollars. All of that's gonna be in the TIP district, and we're gonna look to build that particular road so we can get the businesses here that we're looking to bring. The businesses that we're looking to bring in that area is gonna be several $100 million.
Yeah.
So we're looking to be able to hire some serious people, but we gotta get this thing going. So we may have to invest, close to $1 million or whatever that number is. But we're gonna get great dividends from that.
And I know you look into the future as far as the sewer treatment facility at that facility.
In fact, yes, sir.
I would suggest just an administration, if y'all wanted to take it from that side, or we could do on this side, is to remove what we pay from the general and the executive for a lobbyist and actually take it from this fund, because it's gonna impact this area where this fund is driven at.
You're dead on it, Warren. So what we're doing right now, we talked to Richard again, we're trying to come up with $60 million to build a sewer treatment plant.
Yeah, we need.
And the sewer treatment plant that we're looking to build is gonna be around the coastal area on parish property. And we're in the worst kind of way we're gonna have to do that because we have so much development that's going on. And honestly speaking, with the amount of development that we're gonna have going on in Iberia Parish, you can't send all of your waste to that one plant. It's not gonna work. So I have already wrote a letter to the governor, to each one of our state delegation have the letter, our congressional delegation have the letter. We have to move forward with getting this parish prepared to do some things. Now, in saying all of that, I've actually talked to a couple of big box companies that's looking to come to Iberia Parish. They may not want to be in Iberia Parish. So we have to talk about that. We got some things that we're going to have to talk about. My feeling is, if I can get a business into Iberia Parish, I can care less where they at, as long as they're in Iberia Parish. I want the revenue, I want the money, the sales tax, so we can continue to do what we have to do in this parish. But those are things that we'll talk about a little bit later.
I just want to say I'm fully committed. I mean, if you want to get a lobbyist who fits the needs to that, I think we need to ante up, and not just that, but ante up with our investments in IDF to continue to bring those businesses like First Solar, the Biomed, that's our future.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Good.
Good job.
Let's do this. I'm gonna go second. Come on, you.
I'm good.
No, I think that rat's slow. Mr. Pillar.
The parish president touched on everything I wanted to ask about with the port roads. I've been getting hounded on the port roads, and, I know this is one of the areas we can maybe swing a couple of dollars in, and he touched on everything I wanted him to touch on, so.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Just if anybody's curious, I was just gonna kind of go touch off of what Warren said. You're looking at about $6.7 to $7 million left on that first bond, and right now your coupon's at 4, and it goes to 4 1/4. So that's something we can watch, play around with. We're gonna know pretty soon what we're getting as far as a coupon rate with the roads, so we can bounce that number around and go from there.
Right.
Any further questions?
If I can, before you join, you really need to pay attention, if you guys not aware, of the special session that's going to be taking place. I'm saying this twice. That's going to be taking place next month. It's critical that you guys understand what we're getting ready to be asked. Okay? I can send you some information. In fact, I'm going to get Cindy to send Carrie all of the information that I have and have her send it to you guys. Yeah, you have to, of course, whatever your findings are and what it is that you want to do, you need to talk to the delegation, but. Yeah, so, thank you.
All right.
Oh, Ms. Brown?
Can I just make an announcement? On Thursday at 11 o'clock, our Secretary of Statements, Nancy, will be doing a ribbon cutting in Jeanerette at the new early voting location at 11. You're back. Thank you.
And to be there.
Would dinner be served?
Y'all got some bread y'all giving?
Any further discussions?
Would dinner be served?
Thank you, Ms. Swear. Thank you for everybody else, administration. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Motion by Mr. Gaston, second by
What you got?
Mr. Pollard. Voting machines
Now
on
you know.
adjournment.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys, hold on one second.
Okay.
Unanimous.